A very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Let us start the news bulletin with the headlines. Kerala state government to initiate high-level discussions with centre if needed to remove hurdles in accepting financial aid from the UAE for flood relief. Centre officially states it won't accept fund from foreign governments. Congress demands judicial probe, terming floods a man-made disaster. Chief Minister denies allegations. At least 12 people killed in rain-related incidents in many parts of Madhya Pradesh. NDRF deployed for rescue work. Met Department issues forecast for heavy rains in 21 districts. Collective e-Grih Pravesh for over 1 lakh beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana in Valsad in Gujarat. Prime Minister Modi to witness event to celebrate handing over of houses across 26 districts in the state. Several projects to be inaugurated in Junagadh during Prime Minister's day-long visit. US and China set to impose fresh tariffs on additional $16 billion of each other's goods today. Second round of tariffs are to see a total of $50 billion worth of goods from each side that will now be taxed. And Rahi Sarnobat becomes the first Indian female shooter to win gold at Asian Games. On Wednesday, India bags 4 bronze medals to take the games tally to 15. First up, let's get you all the updates from flood-ravaged Kerala. Well, the centre has made it clear that it deeply appreciates the assistance given by foreign governments for flood-ravaged Kerala, but it will not accept it in sync with its existing policy over the matter. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Ravish Kumar said that the government was committed to meeting the requirements for relief and rehabilitation in Kerala through domestic efforts. He, however, clarified that contributions to the Prime Minister's Relief Fund and the Chief Minister's Relief Fund from the NRIs, PIOs and international entities such as foundations will be welcomed. The clarification came in the wake of reports that the government has not accepted the UAE offer of assistance to the tune of 700 crore rupees for relief work in Kerala. The Kerala government, on the other hand, has said that it will approach Prime Minister Modi to clear the hurdles at receiving the help from the UAE.
ഇതിനിടയിലാണ് 700 കോടി രൂപ യുഎഇയിൽ നിന്ന് വാഗ്ദാനം ചെയ്ത കാര്യം അറിയിച്ചിരുന്നു. ഈ സംഖ്യ പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ച ഉടനെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ പ്രധാനമന്ത്രി നരേന്ദ്രമോദി തൻ്റെ ട്വിറ്ററിൽ ഇതിനെ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുകയും ചെയ്തിരുന്നു. രാജ്യങ്ങൾ തമ്മിൽ പരസ്പരം സഹായിക്കുക സ്വാഭാവികമാണ്. അത് ലോകമെമ്പാടും നടക്കുന്നതുമാണ്. 2016 മെയ് മാസം കേന്ദ്ര സർക്കാർ പുറത്തിറക്കിയ ദേശീയ ദുരന്ത നിവാരണ നയത്തിൽ മറ്റ് രാജ്യങ്ങൾ സ്വമേധയാ നൽകുന്ന സഹായം സ്വീകരിക്കാവുന്നതാണെന്ന് വ്യക്തമാക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. എന്നാൽ യുഎഇ സഹായവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് ചില തടസ്സങ്ങൾ ഉയർന്നു വന്നതായി വാർത്തകൾ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇക്കാര്യത്തിൽ വന്നു ചേരുന്ന തടസ്സങ്ങൾ ഔദ്യോഗിക തലത്തിൽ തന്നെ ചർച്ച ചെയ്ത് പരിഹരിക്കുന്നതിനുള്ള നടപടികൾ സംസ്ഥാന സർക്കാർ സ്വീകരിക്കുന്നതാണ്. ലോകത്തിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ ഭാഗത്തു നിന്നും ലഭിക്കുന്ന സഹായങ്ങളെ സർക്കാർ സർവാത്മന സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു.
Meanwhile, the Navy has called off its 14-day-long rescue operations in the flood-ravaged state of Kerala, and during this time, the naval personnel rescued a total of 16,005 people during Operation Madad. Meanwhile, the government has announced that all donations to the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund and the Kerala Chief Minister's Distress Relief Fund are tax-free, while contribution to the NGOs meant for Kerala flood victims will get 50% income tax rebate. Meanwhile, private donations from abroad to Kerala flood victims have no restrictions if they follow certain rules and routes, even though India as a policy does not accept any donations from foreign governments for disaster victims. And banks in the state have also decided to reschedule loans and not levy service charges and fee for issuing new checkbooks to customers affected by the floods. With the help that it is getting from everywhere, Kerala is slowly but surely getting back to its feet. Homeward bound to pick up the pieces of their lives, the average Malayali is overwhelmed, to say the least. First, there is the devastation to contend with, and then the massive task of cleaning up the slush that has settled in their homes. Documents have been lost, all their belongings have been washed away. They realize that life will have to be built up from the scratch. Losses that are difficult to contend with.
Floodwaters have receded and the focus is now on reconstruction and rehabilitation. Wells need to be cleaned up, plumbing needs to be restored, and there are electrical jobs to be done. Not only will the rebuilding be a lengthy process, but also costly, as the handymen for doing these jobs are much in demand. With several wells filled up with slush, cleaning them can cost up to 15,000 rupees each. Electrical repair work on a 3-bedroom inundated house can cost upwards of 20,000 rupees. However, several organizations are providing many services free of cost as well.
ഇന്നലെയാണ് വന്നത്. ഇന്നലെ തുടങ്ങി ഞങ്ങൾ ആൾക്കാർ ഇവിടെ ആരും കാണാനൊന്നുമില്ല. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് 3 മക്കളെയും കൊണ്ട് താമസിക്കാൻ വേറെ ഇടമില്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് ആളുകളെ വിളിച്ച് ഞങ്ങൾ ക്ലീൻ ചെയ്ത് കയറാനായിട്ട് നോക്കണേ. എല്ലാം ഇത്ര നാളും പണിയെടുത്ത് എല്ലാം നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു. അന്യനാട്ടിൽ കിടന്ന് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയതെല്ലാം പോയി, ഒന്നുമില്ല.
ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട് കുഞ്ഞിനെ വേറെ സ്ഥലത്ത് ഇപ്പോൾ ആക്കിയിട്ട് ഞങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. സാധനങ്ങളൊക്കെ എടുക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി വന്നേക്കാം. എവിടെയെങ്കിലും സ്ഥലം കിട്ടിയാൽ നമുക്ക് പോകണം. വീട് കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ല, ഒക്കെ പോയി, എല്ലാം നശിച്ചു. അൽമാരി, ഫ്രിഡ്ജ്, വാഷിംഗ് മെഷീൻ എല്ലാം നശിച്ചു, ഒന്നുമില്ല. ഇനി
ചോര നീരാക്കി അധ്വാനിച്ച് കെട്ടിപ്പടുത്തതെല്ലാം തകർന്നുപോയ കാഴ്ചയാണ് പലയിടത്തുമുള്ളത്. ഇത്തരം ദുരിത കാഴ്ചകളിൽ തകർന്നു പോകരുത് എന്നാണ് ആദ്യമായും അഭ്യർത്ഥിക്കാനുള്ളത്. അവയെല്ലാം പുനർനിർമ്മിക്കാൻ നമുക്ക് സാധിക്കും.
The death toll in the disaster stands at 231. This is since August 8th. It has also forced 12 lakh people into relief centers.
Around 820 houses have been washed away or severely damaged that it cannot be used for any accommodation purpose in future. And partially damaged houses, the number is in thousands. The damage is caused to public properties, roadways, electricity, assets, railways is it's huge. So even though we are restoring connectivity to most part of the district, Nelliyampadi hills are still cut off. It will take huge money and huge efforts, humongous efforts to bring back to normalcy.
But those unaffected by the floods are joining in relief work, pitching in with preparing food for the needy.
हमारा मंदिर है, इसकी तरफ से इधर से खाना खिला रहे. फिर हमारा पंचायत की वजह से प्रेसिडेंट, वार्ड मेंबर सब लोग सामान सब लेके आ रहे हैं. हम इधर खाना बना के दूसरा कैंप में भी ले जा रहे हैं. तो इधर का लोग दूसरा जगह रेस्क्यू के लिए भी गया हुआ है. हमारे बच्चे सब लोग अब तो उन बाकी सबके घर वॉश करने के लिए, हेल्प करने के लिए भी गए हुआ है बच्चे. तो इधर से तो बहुत जगह जा रहे हैं बच्चे, खाना बना कर भी ले जा रहे हैं. बाकी इधर भी सबको हेल्प कर रहे हैं, दूसरे जगह लोगों को भी हेल्प इधर से जा रहे हैं.
Meanwhile, Union Health Minister JP Nadda has said there has been no outbreak of communicable diseases in the state so far. The National Centre for Disease Control has issued health advisories to support the state in meeting with post-flood public health management challenges. NCDC teams are ready for deployment to support the state in preventing outbreak of diseases.
ഇത്തരം ദൗത്യത്തിൽ ഏർപ്പെടുമ്പോൾ പലവിധത്തിലുള്ള ജലജന്യ രോഗങ്ങൾ വരാനുള്ള സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്. ഇത് കണക്കിലെടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് ഇത്തരം പ്രവർത്തനത്തിൽ ഏർപ്പെട്ടവർ അത് സംബന്ധിച്ച വൈദ്യപരിശോധനയ്ക്ക് വിധേയമാകാൻ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കണം എന്നാണ് അഭ്യർത്ഥിക്കാനുള്ളത്.
The centre has also proposed the setting up of a cyclone warning centre in Thiruvananthapuram. This proposal has come in the wake of tropical cyclones and severe weather events in Kerala and Karnataka coasts. The centre is expected to come up in another month. At present, the IMD has cyclone warning centres in Chennai, Bhubaneswar, Vishakhapatnam, Kolkata, Ahmedabad and Mumbai. The centre in the Kerala capital will be equipped with state-of-the-art infrastructure including forecasting tools to issue weather warnings and coastal bulletins for fishermen, etc. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, my colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us live from Alappuzha district. Very good morning, Akhilesh. Now, India has said that it will not take help from foreign governments that are pledging financial assistance to flood-hit Kerala, and it will depend basically on the domestic efforts. So tell us, how is life really limping back to normal for an average Malayali there?
Yes, Aishwarya, it's right that India has said that it will not accept any donation from the foreign government. But India has also said that any foundation, NRI, expatriates and PIOs, everyone, and if any foreign organizations other than the governments want to help, it will be accepted. And I am telling you that a plane load of relief materials have come from UAE yesterday. The government had offered help, donation, financial donation of 700 crores. India rejected it, but the relief materials are coming, and these had been collected by the Indian people, NRI, and also other people who have helped in this donation. So this is the situation that you can send the relief materials but not the money. Other than that, you know that enough resources are there inside the state also as far as the relief operations are concerned, and many departments are coming up to meet out the challenge of cleaning and housing. For example, I am telling you the cooperative department of the state has said yesterday that it will build 1,500 houses on its own. The cooperative will channelize its own resources, money, and it will also have some support from various cooperative societies in the state, and it will invest 5 lakh rupees per houses of 600 square feet houses. So it will start working from September 1. So in this way you can understand that departments are coming up. Even business communities are coming up to help the people of the state. And I talked to many businessmen here in Kerala state. Many of the businessmen are helping in relief operations, and they are also telling that our business is also getting shifted towards the relief operation and meeting out the challenge, because people are buying stuff from the shop and sending it to the areas where relief are necessary. So society is trying to come to the normal, but because the major thing has happened, people are trying to go to the houses. And for example, I am telling you that relief camps are going to be reduced. It has already reduced in many, like in a city like Thiruvananthapuram. The relief centers have reduced and people have started going back to their home after the water has receded. Right. Yesterday I also saw that many houses are being cleaned voluntarily. People, young people especially, are making groups of their friend and fraternity, and they are taking up the houses, they are cleaning them, and they are going to another houses. But they told that yes, it will take over a month to clean the mess, because once you clean the house, it is not livable. You have to clean it again after a week or so, so that the smell goes off, the humidity, all the dampness goes off, yes. And insecticides are sprayed so that it can come to the normal.
Right.
So things are coming up. So foreign donations are not required at this point of time so that to come the state to the normal. We have enough resources, and Government of India policy was there long, earlier policy was already there, that even if we need it, it was actually NDA government decision only that we don't need donations. If we need help, we can have enough resources from our NRIs and expatriates who will help us.
So India categorically saying that it will not accept foreign assistance. It says we have enough resources, but of course there's a huge challenge ahead, Akhilesh, as you were mentioning, of the entire reconstruction and a lot of cleaning up required. And I guess it will take some time before life really limps back to normal for an average Malayali in Kerala that was hit by worst floods in a decade. Thank you so much for all those updates. We'll keep coming back to you. Meanwhile, the opposition Congress in Kerala has demanded a judicial probe into the events leading to the flooding in the state, terming the tragedy a man-made disaster. The opposition said that it is the failure of the state government that it risked the lives of the people. Kerala Chief Minister, however, has denied the allegations, saying that the government was able to fruitfully manage the dams and check the quantum of damage.
The KSEB and the Water Resources Ministry is the sole responsible for this calamity. They didn't inform the people. Proper measures were not taken, safety measures were not taken. And in the midnight when people were sleeping, all the dams were opened and the people became victim of that. The carelessness, without any planning, without informing the people, they opened all the dams. That is why the opposition is asking for a judicial inquiry into the whole episode, because this is a man-made disaster. This is not a natural calamity.
And flight operations from the Cochin International Airport will resume from 29th of August instead of 26th of August as announced earlier. The decision to extend the date was taken at a meeting at Cochin International Airport Limited, where all the stakeholders expressed concern over mobilizing manpower by 26th of August. It was also informed at the meeting that over 90% of the staff is affected by the floods and they are out of station. Nearby hotels, restaurants and eateries still remain closed. The airport also faces a daunting task to arrange local commutation as well as logistics of catering items, as it has suffered extensive damage. Cochin Airport has suffered an estimated loss of over 220 crore rupees due to floods and is rendered non-functional since 14th of August. Meanwhile, on to the flood situation and rain-related incidents in other states of the country. At least 12 people were killed in rain-related incidents in many parts of Madhya Pradesh. Heavy rains continue in many parts of the state, and the Met Department has issued advisory and has said that heavy rains will continue in 21 districts, including in Rajya and Ratiyam, following possibility of extreme rainfall. And torrential rain in the state has caused havoc in many districts, including Bhopal, Vidisha, Jhabua and Mandsaur. National Disaster Response Force has been deployed in several of these areas. And Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has also conducted a high-level review of the situation following extreme rain in the state. Let's get you some other news now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Gujarat for a day today, and arriving this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a public meeting near Valsad town, where he will attend the collective e-Grih Pravesh of the beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana via video conferencing. Over 1 lakh houses have been built under the centre's flagship scheme in the state. Prime Minister Modi will also perform the groundbreaking ceremony of a water supply project from the same venue. The Prime Minister will then visit Junagadh town in Saurashtra to inaugurate various projects, including a government hospital, 13 projects of the Junagadh Municipal Corporation and a milk processing plant there. And Prime Minister Modi will also preside over the convocation ceremony of the Gujarat Forensic Science University in Gandhinagar. Before returning to Delhi, he will attend the meeting of the Somnath Temple Trust in the evening. And the ashes of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee will be reaching several states today. In Uttar Pradesh, the ashes will be brought by Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh by air to Lucknow, and from the airport it will be taken to Jhulelal Park by road. Thereafter, a Shraddhanjali Sabha will be held in Lucknow, after which the ashes will be immersed in various state rivers. Likewise, urns are being sent to other states with several BJP ministers and leaders travelling with the urns. Asthi Kalash of Vajpayee's ashes were earlier brought to Ranchi, Amritsar in Punjab, Kolkata, Jaipur and Shimla. And news from the northeast of the country, the fate of Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma will be decided as the state goes for by-elections in 2 assembly constituencies today. Sangma is contesting from the South Tura seat in West Garo Hills district on ruling NPP ticket to enter the state assembly. Remember, he became the Chief Minister on 6th of March with the support of regional parties and the BJP. And Sangma is pitted against Congress's Charlotte M. Momim and independents there. Meanwhile, in Ranikot, the by-election is being held after sitting MLA there, M. Dango, quit Congress to join the ruling NPP. Dango is contesting as an NPP candidate from Ranikot, which he represented for the last 5 consecutive terms as Congress MLA. And counting of votes will be held on 27th of August. On to some other news now. The UGC, or the University Grants Commission, has decided that all universities and higher education institutions to ban the sale of junk food on their campuses. In a communication to the universities, the UGC said that banning junk food in colleges will set new standards for healthy food and prevent lifestyle diseases. The circular was issued after a directive from the HRD Ministry asking the UGC to ban the sale of junk food in premises of higher education institutions. A similar move was made earlier by the Central Board of Secondary Education, which had directed all its affiliated schools to take junk food off their canteen menu. Congress President Rahul Gandhi targeted the Modi government, blaming it for lack of jobs and demonetization. In his address in Germany's Hamburg, he accused the government of failing to protect people and hitting the economy through demonetization and the GST. He claimed that the incidents of lynching in India were due to anger caused by joblessness and destruction of small businesses. Rahul Gandhi is on a 4-day visit to the UK and Germany as part of his party's NRI outreach program. Let's get you all the international news. Well, Wall Street has set the record for the longest ever bull run in the history on Wednesday. This after the S&P 500 closed for the 3,453rd straight time without a drop of 20% over the more than 9-year stretch. It is noteworthy that the stock market switches from a bear to a bull phase when share prices have risen 20% from the previous low. The bull market continues until there is a 20% decline from the peak when the stocks go back into bear mode. The record was set with more than a whimper, really, than a roar. The S&P 500 dipped 1 point to 2,861 for the day, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 88 points. But records were set nonetheless. And US President Donald Trump cheered the news on Twitter shortly after the closing bell, saying that longest bull run in the history of the stock market. Congratulations, America. Having started in March 2009 following the financial crisis, the longest market rally comes as the global economy continues its recovery from the depths of last recession. And the US and China are set to begin enforcing 25% duties on an additional $16 billion of each other's imports on Thursday in an escalation of the tariff war between the world's 2 largest economies. US tariffs will be coming into effect from today at 12 p.m. Beijing time. The new 25% tax will affect nearly 280 Chinese goods, including chemical products, agriculture equipment, motorcycles and antennas, and China will retaliate with its own 25% tariffs on $16 billion of US goods, including coal, medical instruments, cars and buses. The second round of tariffs will see a total of $50 billion worth of goods from each other that will now be taxed. The action follows an earlier round of tariffs in July when Washington launched 25% duties on $34 billion in Chinese goods, and Beijing retaliated with the tariffs on an equal value of US goods. The tariffs come into effect even as officials of both the nations met for talks in Washington yesterday. They are due to wrap up the 2-day of the trade negotiations on Thursday, but few hope for a breakthrough. US President Donald Trump has demanded that China improve its market access and intellectual property protections for American companies and cut its massive and chronic trade surplus with the US. Let's now get you all the sporting action from Asian Games 2018. Well, really good news for India because Rahi Sarnobat became the first Indian female shooter to win a gold medal at the Asian Games. She claimed the gold in the women's 25 meters air pistol final. However, Manu Bhaskar crashed out of the same event. Meanwhile, in Wushu, India won 4 bronze medals. Roshiba Devi won bronze after losing to her Chinese opponent, while Santosh Kumar won bronze in the 56 kg category. Surya Bhanu Pratap Singh and Narendra Grewal won bronze in the 60 kg and 65 kg categories respectively. Meanwhile, in men's hockey, India defeated Hong Kong 26-0 to break their 86-year record of the biggest ever margin. The previous best came at the 1932 Olympics when Team India beat USA 24-1. And in tennis, India's top-ranked women's singles player Ankita Raina confirmed a singles medal in the women's tennis for India after she reached the semi-finals. Ankita defeated Edish Chong of Hong Kong 6-4, 6-1 in the quarter-final match to assure India a medal. Looking at the medals tally, well, India is placed 7th in the medals tally with 15 medals so far, comprising 4 golds, 3 silver and 8 bronze medals, while China with 83 medals, including 38 gold, tops the medals tally, followed by Japan with 68 medals, including 20 gold, and South Korea is placed on the 3rd position with 49 medals, including 11 golds. Well, after India got its 4th gold medal at the 18th Asian Games in the women's 25 meters air pistol, President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Colonel Rajya Singh Rathore congratulated Sarnobat for winning the gold medal. The Maharashtra government has also announced a cash reward of 50 lakh rupees for Sarnobat. And Prime Minister Modi as well as Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports have congratulated Wushu champions as well, and all of the athletes who won bronze in the event. And all the cricketing action now. India produced a fantastic collective performance to outclass England by 203 runs in the 3rd cricket test at Nottingham to keep the 5-match series alive. Resuming at the overnight score of 311 for 9 on the 5th day, England were all out for 317. For India, Jasprit Bumrah took 5 wickets. Skipper Virat Kohli was declared player of the match, scoring 97 runs in the first innings and 103 in the second innings. He has dedicated his team's victory to the victims of a devastating Kerala floods. Remember, the fourth test will begin on the 30th of this month at Southampton. And that's the wrap on this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.